Good morning, my customers. Wanted to do a video today. We just finished up a house here, and we have a lot of calls from all over the country, and people will ask us questions about, my AC's not working, my heat's not coming on. I have a heat pump, I have a gas unit. So I thought today, let me go through a video, and let's just say I'm doing a typical startup, and I want to go through and explain about how we go through everything. So typically when I walk in, I always ask the owner, I said, where's your thermostat? And they'll point over here. So we usually walk to the thermostat. And the first thing I always do is I look at the thermostat and then I make sure, is it off? Is it on heat? Is it on cool? What do I need typically for this time of year? Over here, I look at the fan switch and it's either auto or on. I always tell my customers leave the fan in auto because when the unit comes on, the fan will come on. When the unit goes off, the fan will go off. You really never want to leave it in the on position. And what this switch is for, because I have people say, well, why do we have an on switch? The switch is for certain times of year when you have a cool season and you may want to open up your windows and doors and just bring in some fresh air. That's all that's for. This thermostat is typically, this is a Pro 3000. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this switch on. And let's just say we go to cool. I want you to look at this flashing light down here. Look at really close, because I have a lot of people call me. They'll turn their thermostat on, and they don't give it time to go through the 5-minute time delay. These things are built in with the 5-minute time delay for the purpose of when you have those thunderstorms in the summertime, when you have those power surges from the power company, what happens, the whole system shuts down, and it gives the Freon a chance to equalize to the TXVs and the line set so it doesn't flood back to the compressor. That's what that's all about. But customers, remember, give it 5 minutes. A lot of times I'll tell my customers, how long has it been on? 3 or 4 minutes. Call me back in 10 if it's not working. We'll come out and see what the problem is. 90% of the time, they're just not waiting. Another thing I want to show you is we have customers, sometimes they'll say, well, I have a battery light flashing on here, it's not working. So I'll say, well, pull off the thermostat cover, and they'll say, well, how do you do that? Now, I want, just look at my fingers and thumbs. I take my thumbs and lay them down here on the bottom of the screen. I put my fingers on top, and I literally just take it and I just pull. Just pull the top back and lift it straight up. See how easy that was? Don't get excited, don't get crazy, don't rank it off the wall. Just pull it very slow and gently and easy. And I'll say, flip the thermostat over. Now you see these two batteries? So I'll tell the customer, you see the battery? And they'll say, yes. I'll say, well, take the batteries out and replace them. So I'm just going to take the batteries out. I know this is simple for most of you technicians and you owners. And some. All right, so we got the batteries. You look at the thermostat, it'll tell you which way to even put the batteries in. It'll tell you what size batteries to put in. So you want to put this in, and you'll even see the dates on the batteries. A lot of times, so this one's supposedly good for 2025. We'll say, okay, so you put the batteries in. Now here's another thing. You notice how the battery's not in thoroughly? You got to take it, make sure you snap them in. That is extremely important. Another thing I just want to point out, a lot of times we go to thermostats that are not really programmed correctly. They'll buy them at Lowe's or these other places. And the homeowners don't realize you have a switch in the back, electric or heat pump, gas or oil. Majority of the time you're going to go to heat pump for most parts of especially the south and northeast. So you're going to flip that switch over, okay? And then we'll talk about programming. She's like, all right, so now I went through the thermostat and I'm going to put it on. Opposite of what I'm going to take the thermostat, I'm going to put the top on first. Then I'm just going to take the bottom, I'm just going to push it in. See how simple that is? It's very, very simple here. Okay, now the thermostat's still on the time delay mode, but I'm going to move. I'm not going to wait till it comes on. It doesn't matter. So we're going to walk here, and the next thing I'll say is, after 5-10 minutes, I'll say, well, where's your electrical panel box? And they'll say, it's right here. So let me show you over here. We're going to walk over here. Another thing I always do is I always look. I always try to read the ledger on the panel box. But anyway, so I check the breaker to make sure this breaker's on. This particular breaker, by the way, is a Cutler Hammer. I call it Cutler Hammer 10. The breaker is on. The condenser is on outside of the heat pump, so it's on, it's on. Okay, so now we know we have power. So the next troubleshooting call would be, hey, let's walk to the air handler just in case there's something wrong, okay? So we walk into the air handler. And this is the air handler. This here is a pull out right here, okay? And all right, so here's what I always tell my customers. Can you go to your air handler? Go to the air handler. Do you have an SS2 switch? And they'll say, well, I don't know what an SS2 switch. I want you to look this very closely. Now, this is a little tight situation. I don't particularly like this, and we got to put armor flex here for you guys that'll ask me, hey, man, you didn't know your armor flex. Yeah, I know that. We got to finish this part up. I just noticed it. Anyway, you have two white pipes coming out of the air handler. One pipe goes outside that takes the condensate to the outside. The other pipe is a safety switch. This has to be redone. This is a little too tight, by the way. So, but the safety switch has a black wire going to the top of it, right? So I always tell my customers, pull the switch out, okay, and see if there's water in here. Of course, there's not water in this, but I want you to look down inside it. You see water. If there's water here, this safety switch is designed when it comes up, it shuts the whole system down. Okay, I won't go into details of how the switch works, but this switch ties into the wiring of the air handler that shuts it down. We break it through the red wire, okay? So it shuts the system down. This is a safety switch. This switch protects your floors from getting wet. It protects the compressor from running. It protects if you have problem outside of drainage. This is an invaluable right here. If you don't have one of these on your system, you need to add one. This thing can be worth thousands of dollars, especially if your AC system's in the attic, okay? All right, so I always tell the customer, very gently, put it back in. The thing about it is you want to try to keep this plunger as vertical as possible. This is a horrible situation to try to demonstrate. And then you put this in. So all those things are intact. That's draining. The safety switch is not kicked out. The breaker's on. The thermostat's calling for cool or heat, whichever you're going. It should be working fine, okay? If any of those things are not in play with the sequence I just went through, then you may have an issue. You may have to call your AC technician. You may have to call your owner or a person that takes care of your stuff. Folks, a lot of times it's just being a little patient. Go through the procedures, take it out, walk through the sequence of operation, and just watch it. You'll save yourself money. You'll save yourself time. And before I get off here, I want to show you one more thing here. And one last thing I want to talk about is filters. Sometimes a customer's call me and says, hey, my coil's frozen up. I see ice outside. You know, there's ice on my coil when they actually can see it. I'll say, well, when's the last time you replaced your filter? Oh, I just replaced it. Well, you know, the problem is I just replaced it sometimes it's 6 months down the road. So they go over there and they'll check their filter and unbeknownst, it'll be dirty, okay? One thing I always tell my customers is take the filter. You know, this here is a 30 by 18. First of all, you want to use a pleated filter. A pleated filter has more surface space. It catches more dust, more dirt, more debris. It's actually just a very healthy feeder. The biggest thing I want to point out is the date. Always date your filters because you never know and you can't never remember when's the last time you changed them. You think you do, but it's amazing how fast time flies, okay? Here's typically inside of a return that's going for a floor unit. You see this right here. We mastic and sealed all the joints because we want to make sure we have a good tight return air seal. Okay. Anyway, folks, I hope this was helpful. It's just a few points that we have these phone calls on. Just check these things. Try to troubleshoot yourself as much as possible. Save yourself some money. If you have any questions, you can go on our website, jonesairconditioning.com. We try to blog on everything. We put these videos on our website. We're here to help. If you like this video, please share, please subscribe, and please comment. Thank you.